Defining peace. Beyond the silence. Peace is a word that rolls off the tongue, often uttered with a sigh of longing. We yearn for it, fight for it, and yet achieving it remains humanity's greatest challenge. But what do we really mean when we talk about peace? Is it simply the absence of war and violence? Or does it run deeper, encompassing social justice, equality, and a world free from oppression? This video explores the multifaceted nature of peace, looking through the distinct lenses of the oppressed and the oppressor. It argues that true peace, lasting peace, cannot exist without understanding and dismantling the systems of power that perpetuate injustice and inequality. To fully grasp the complexities of peace, we must acknowledge that it means different things to different people. This is where standpoint theory comes into play. This theory, rooted in the lived experiences of marginalized groups, argues that our social positions shape our understanding of the world. In other words, where we stand in society, our race, class, gender, and other identities profoundly influence how we perceive and experience peace itself. This presentation explores the concept of peace, recognizing that it is not a monolithic entity. It acknowledges that the experiences and perspectives of the oppressed, those who have endured the brunt of violence and discrimination, offer invaluable insights into the true meaning of peace. For instance, the Oromo struggle for freedom in Ethiopia highlights the intersection of peace and justice. The Oromo people have long fought against systemic oppression and marginalization, seeking not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice and equality. Their struggle underscores that peace is deeply intertwined with the fight for human rights and dignity. This journey into the heart of peace will challenge conventional narratives and illuminate the path towards a more just and equitable world. A tale of two peace, negative versus positive. The journey towards understanding peace requires us to confront its dual nature, negative peace and positive peace. Negative peace, often mistaken as the ultimate goal, signifies the absence of direct violence. It's the ceasefire agreement signed, the guns falling silent. Yet, while a necessary first step, it's merely a fragile truce in the face of deeper, systemic issues. Imagine a house with cracks in its foundation. Merely painting over them won't fix the underlying structural problems. Similarly, negative peace, while providing a respite from immediate harm, fails to address the root causes of conflict and oppression. Positive peace, on the other hand, explores the very fabric of society, addressing the root causes of conflict. It's about dismantling the systems that perpetuate injustice and inequality. Think of it as healing the cracks in the foundation, brick by brick, ensuring a strong and stable structure. This means tackling issues like poverty, discrimination, and lack of access to resources, creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. The distinction between negative and positive peace is crucial for understanding why peace remains elusive for many. While the absence of war might bring temporary relief, it's the presence of justice, equality, and opportunity that paves the way for lasting peace. The Oromo struggle for freedom exemplifies this journey from negative to positive peace. Through their eyes, understanding standpoint theory. To truly grasp the multifaceted nature of peace, we must adopt the lens of standpoint theory. This theory posits that knowledge is not neutral, but rather shaped by our social positions. It recognizes that those who experience marginalization and oppression possess unique and invaluable perspectives on power, inequality, and the very meaning of peace. Imagine trying to understand the vastness of the ocean solely from the shore. You can observe the waves, feel the breeze, but to truly know the ocean's depths, you must dive in. Similarly, understanding the experiences of the marginalized is crucial for comprehending the complexities of peace. Standpoint theory emphasizes several key components. First, it acknowledges that social groups are not homogeneous. Within any group, there will be diverse experiences and perspectives. Second, it emphasizes the importance of lived experience as a source of knowledge. Those who face oppression develop a critical understanding of power dynamics that those in positions of privilege often lack. Lastly, standpoint theory is not about replacing one dominant narrative with another. It is about creating space for marginalized voices to be heard, understood, and incorporated into the larger conversation on peace building. By centering the voices of the marginalized, standpoint theory provides a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of peace. It reminds us that lasting peace requires dismantling the systems of oppression that silence and marginalize entire communities. For instance, the Oromo struggle for freedom in Ethiopia highlights how marginalized groups fight for their rights and recognition. Their experiences and perspectives are crucial for understanding the broader quest for peace and justice. Echoes of the past, peace across time and struggle. History whispers tales of peace, of battles fought and treaties signed. Yet these narratives often prioritize the voices of the powerful, neglecting the experiences of those on the margins. Examining historical struggles through the lens of standpoint theory reveals a more complex picture of peace, one shaped by resistance, resilience, and the ongoing fight for liberation. From the abolition of slavery to the fight for women's suffrage, marginalized groups have consistently challenged dominant narratives of peace, demanding a more inclusive and just vision. Consider the civil rights movement in the United States. While mainstream narratives often focus on landmark legislation, the movement encompassed a broader struggle for social, economic, and political equality. Activists facing violence and discrimination understood that true peace extended far beyond the desegregation of public spaces. Their fight for voting rights, fair housing, and economic justice highlighted the interconnectedness of peace with broader societal structures. These historical echoes remind us that the pursuit of peace is not a linear progression, but an ongoing process. It requires constant vigilance, challenging oppressive systems, and amplifying the voices of those most impacted by injustice. The Oromo struggle for freedom in Ethiopia is another poignant example. Their resistance against systemic oppression and fight for self-determination underscores the enduring quest for peace and justice. The voices of the silenced, resistance and resilience. When peace is defined by the oppressor, silence often becomes the enforced norm. Speaking out, demanding justice, is met with resistance, with attempts to silence and erase. Yet throughout history, marginalized communities have refused to be silenced. They have raised their voices, demanding recognition, justice, and a seat at the table where peace is negotiated. Their methods of resistance are as diverse as the communities themselves, ranging from peaceful protests and civil disobedience to armed struggle when all other avenues have been exhausted. Consider the Oromo people's long-standing struggle for self-determination. Since the late 19th century, when their sovereignty was forcefully dismantled by Abyssinian conquest and absorbed into the expanding Ethiopian empire, the Oromo have faced systemic marginalization and state violence. Yet their enduring resistance reflects a deep commitment to reclaiming their identity, sovereignty, and the right to live with dignity, freely expressing their culture, language, and values without fear or repression. These acts of resistance are not merely about demanding a seat at the table, but about transforming the very nature of the table itself. They challenge us to imagine a world where peace is not imposed, but collaboratively built, where all voices are heard and all identities are respected. The master's tools, power, privilege, and the illusion of peace. The perspective of the oppressor often views peace through a distorted lens, one clouded by power and privilege. They mistake silence for consent, order for peace. They fail to see, or perhaps choose not to see, how the very systems they benefit from perpetuate the very injustices that undermine genuine peace. Their peace is often built on the backs of the marginalized, maintained through the suppression of dissent and the perpetuation of inequality. This perspective often relies on rationalizations that justify their position and actions. They may argue that their dominance is natural, inevitable, or even beneficial for the oppressed. They might point to economic progress or technological advancements as evidence of their benevolent rule, ignoring the underlying disparities and injustices that persist. However, true peace cannot be achieved through such skewed perspectives. Ignoring the root causes of conflict and oppression only serves to maintain a fragile and superficial peace that is always on the verge of collapse. Bridges of Understanding, Case Studies in Conflict and Reconciliation. Examining specific conflicts and reconciliation efforts through the combined lenses of standpoint theory and the oppressed-oppressor dynamic illuminates the complexities of peace-building. For instance, the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission, while lauded for its efforts to address the legacy of apartheid, also faced critiques for its limitations in achieving true justice for victims. Similarly, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict highlights the challenges of achieving peace in the face of historical injustices, ongoing violence, and deeply entrenched power imbalances. These case studies underscore the importance of understanding the historical context, power dynamics, and lived experiences of all parties involved. They demonstrate that peace-building is not a one-size-fits-all endeavor, but requires tailored approaches that address the specific root causes of conflict in each context. By analyzing these real-world examples, we can glean valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities of peace-building. They serve as reminders that achieving lasting peace requires a long-term commitment to addressing historical injustices, promoting social justice, and ensuring equitable access to resources and opportunities. The Oromo struggle for freedom in Ethiopia also exemplifies the ongoing fight against oppression and the quest for self-determination, highlighting the resilience and determination of marginalized communities in their pursuit of justice and equality. Building a world without walls, towards a just and inclusive peace. Building a world where peace prevails requires a fundamental shift in our understanding of this cherished ideal. It demands that we move beyond superficial notions of peace as the mere absence of war and embrace a more holistic vision that encompasses social justice, equality, and the dismantling of oppressive systems. This necessitates a radical reimagining of power structures, ensuring that the voices of the marginalized are not just heard, but are central to shaping the future. Education emerges as a powerful tool in this endeavor. By incorporating diverse perspectives and teaching empathy and critical thinking, we can nurture generations who challenge injustice and actively participate in creating a more equitable world. Additionally, fostering dialogue and understanding across cultural and social divides helps to dismantle prejudices and build bridges of empathy and solidarity. The path to true peace is not an easy one. It requires unwavering commitment, courageous conversations, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. But the rewards are immeasurable. A world where everyone can live with dignity, security, and hope. A world where peace is not just an aspiration, but a lived reality. As we journey towards a just and inclusive peace, it's crucial to remember that every small action counts. Each of us holds the power to influence positive change within our communities and beyond. Whether it's through advocacy, education, or simply starting a conversation, we can all contribute to building a world where peace is not just a distant dream, but a tangible reality. Reflect on the stories and lessons shared in this video. Let them inspire you to take meaningful steps towards fostering understanding, empathy, and justice. Together, we can break down the walls that divide us and build bridges of compassion and solidarity. Remember that peace, in its truest form, is inseparable from justice. And the journey to peace is inseparable from the struggle for liberation. Thank you for watching. This video is produced and presented to you by BIRMADUU Media. Special thanks to all participants and those who supported this project. Copyright 2025, BIRMADUU Media.